Shalom. Hey, that's beautiful. Welcome, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Tonight, to me, it's a very special night. You can see in the background the Shalom Center, and we have a smiling lady here, Tamara Coleman, and she represents the Shalom Center, which is a privilege, celebrating 40 years. And when I heard about that, I just thought, man, I want to capture this on Make a Choice to Rejoice for the Shalom Center and for the community. So I thought I'd make a quick call, and I was able to reach Tamara, and she said yes. And I said, hallelujah. So here we are. We're going to have a lightning 30 minutes because there's so much to share, but we want to be concise. And first, I want to read a scripture because I think these two verses in the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 35 and 36, it just illustrates compassion. And I was hungry, and you gave me to eat. And I was thirsty, and you gave me to drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. And that illustrates to me the need, because our city has grown, and I've been around a long time. I know I'm getting older, but I still remember back to 1982. I remember this very special lady, a lot of special people, but Greta Hansen. I wish she was here. She's here with us in spirit. And I know there's a placard on the Shalom Center building. So if you do go there, you can read a little bit about her. You could probably Google her name, and I'm sure there's some things in there. But she had a burden for even the people that I just read about, and these things can happen to anybody. But anyways, she started a work that now has went for 40 years. And it started small. There's another verse, little is much when God is in it. Mm-hmm. But I have to say this, Tamara, she persevered because there were roadblocks, there were hardships, there were individuals or neighborhoods that didn't want it. And fast forward, look at this beautiful building in the back, 39th, I'll give you the address, 4314 39th Avenue. I'll repeat that a couple times, and Tamara may as well. And the number there is 658-1713. 658-1713. And in a minute, she's going to be sharing, and I framed this up past, which we're talking a little bit about the past, present. And then the Kenosha News had an article Saturday, April 9th, unveiling the Shalom Center to expand. So the past, present, and future, will be going at that for the next 20 minutes. And it started out the Interfaith Human Concern Network. Then 1985 was renamed the Shalom Center. 2009, Food Pantry.
Yeah, God.
And then 2017, they moved to this present building. I love this. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for his great technical support. And then 2020 was, what was that date?
Yeah, 2020, we moved our pantry from Sheridan Road to our this location here. And yes, for the first time in the history of Shalom Center, all of our pantries, all of our services were under one roof. And it had never been that way before. So we were really excited to have everything under one roof, and that was in 2020.
Yes.
Just a few years ago. Seems like forever ago, but just a few years ago.
So maybe we can just start in the beginning, what you know and how you want to talk. I did give a framework, and then we can illustrate various points and then build up to the present and the expansion. So
absolutely.
You can just take the floor and share as you feel.
You know, when you were reading that scripture, I was reminded that it does, we will, having people that are thirsty and hungry, needing shelter, needing guidance, was really what Greta Hansen and the group of founders thought about. And it's funny to think about and reflect on where we've come from and the importance and the need is still there, even greater probably than it was back in 1982. Started off very small and very humble, right? We were at the CYC. Do you remember the CYC?
Oh, yes.
The Christian Youth Center,
Yeah.
on 52nd. And then moving, thank goodness, to the city, we were able to move to the Deming School. It's a 100-plus-year-old school. And that's really where our foundation started. And that's really where we really grew quickly, becoming a shelter for families, partnering with our local churches, having our inns, which is individuals needing nightly shelter. We went from church to church to church each night, and we would not have been able to be where we are today without those wonderful churches partnering with us all of those years. And then lo and behold, my goodness, September 11th of 2017, we moved into this beautiful building that you see behind me. A lot of sweat, a lot of tears, but we made it, and we are here. And my goodness, no one would have ever thought less than 2 years later we would be closing our pantry on Sheridan Road and then connecting our pantry to this beautiful edifice that you see behind me, and being able to have all of our programs under one roof, creating a ability to be efficient, to collaborate our programs, all under one roof. So in the building behind me, we have our pantry, our soup kitchen, our nightly soup kitchen, which we provide meals to, and not only this location, but also within the inner city at different churches. Every night of the week, rain, hail, sleet, or snow, we are open for a nightly meal. And then our shelter is also in this building. Our family side is on one side, and then our individuals is on the other side. So a lot's happened in those 40 years. A lot has happened, but we're here.
Yes.
And we're still going strong.
Just some things. We thank everyone in Kenosha that is given, small, medium, or large. It's all important. There's some people that can give a lot, money. Some people don't have the time, but they can write a check. But there's been much given by many, and the church at large, from Catholic to Protestant, Lutheran. I do some work with Christ the King right down there. I love what they're doing there too, because every Sunday they serve a meal. And I want you to think about these people now. Even driving over here tonight, I saw a guy by the side of the road. We see these people with signs, homeless. And then, you know, some people say, they're just all the same. Well, no, they're not all the same. I have stopped and talked to them, and there are some real needs. And I usually keep a couple bottles of water or a little some candy bars or something that I can give. And I'm not saying everyone has to do that, but that's something that I choose to do. And you never know until you walk a mile in someone else's shoes. There was a song that sung, I think didn't Elvis sing that song? And that's okay.
It is.
But then I think of my friend, and you can chime in on some of these things. In Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Rescue Mission, their motto is the least, the last, the lost, the helpless, the homeless, and the hopeless. Well, I'll say that about Kenosha. We have least, we have last, we have lost. We have people getting out of jail. I happen to be on the KCDC jail board, and I've been out there, and not everyone's a felon. And even the felons, some of them get back. Employment is huge. You can probably talk about that because you talk about food, shelter, and guidance.
Yes.
But getting them back connected and working through programs, housing, education, and I say that when I talk to the men out in the jail. You know, we got Gateway, we got Carthage, we got Parkside, and you got to give them hope. Because if they lose hope, there's people that commit suicide. That's a whole nother discussion. But
we are hope builders.
Yes.
We are hope builders. And you know, I know
Go ahead.
you mentioned the churches, and they have been an amazing, amazing support system for us. But I would be remiss if I did not just talk about two other entities, and that is our business community and our just community members at large. We would not be where we are today without our support of our community, business community, none of that. We thrive on our volunteerism. We can't do what we do. We have a very small staff. I always say we're small but mighty. But we cannot do this work without our volunteers. And those come from companies. They come from small businesses. They come from churches. We just can't do what we do without them. So yes, it does. I know there's a cliche that it takes a village to raise the children, but it takes a village to help out at Shalom Center. So
Amen.
we believe in our Hope partners. We are thankful for them. And we are not in the business of changing lives. We can't change lives. We can only impact them and give them the resources and the tools that they need to feel better about who they are, that they can change their own life. Because when you change your own life, there's commitment in there. So we give them the tools and resources that they can walk away successful with. And so, again, can't do it without a bunch of people helping out.
I think you probably knew Pastor William Harris.
Absolutely.
He resides down in Tennessee.
Yes,
A great shout out
yes.
to William, but he used to
Yes.
work with the Frank Neighborhood Project. And
Yes.
one of his little sayings is, we want to give a hand up, not just a hand out.
Correct.
And every one of those words, instead of helpless, we want to give help.
That's right.
Hopeless, we want people to find hope. And it's amazing. You get that little candle
Yep.
burning inside of one, and I've seen it. I've seen people restored. And then instead of homeless, everyone needs a home. And some
Absolutely.
people don't have a home. They don't have the father and mother that some people knew, because some of the families are devastated. When I worked in KUSD, sometimes I'd pass out papers and I said, well, you can give this to your mom and dad, and a little girl would say, I don't have a mom and dad. I'm living with grandma. And it can
Grandma.
break your heart.
Yeah.
But this is where restoration and hope comes. And I wanted to ask, what are some of the things you do concerning guidance
Absolutely.
and education?
Thank you so much for asking. So we have an array of programs. We're not just a homeless shelter, right? We are a program. And so we have Rent Smart classes, we have budgeting classes, we have a savings class, we have an empowerment class, we have a nutrition class. We're wanting to set people up for success so that they do not re-enter homelessness. We partner with several agencies within the Kenosha community, Kenosha Human Development Services, Women's and Children's Horizon, PSG. I mean, it's endless. We partner with banks to come in and work with our clients. And so that's the guidance that we're able to give them, the resources and the tools that's going to set them up for success. And I will just also add that we partner with landlords as well. We have a great partnership with some of the landlords to help get people rehoused, because that's the ultimate goal, is to get folks rehoused. And we know that trauma and mental illness are huge and rampant in our community. And if you don't have shelter and a place to live, it's very difficult for us to begin to manage those other things. So we believe that homelessness, you have to get rehoused first so that we can start the other things. That doesn't mean that we don't start right away, but it's so much more helpful when they're rehoused. Then we have the wraparound services. So we just guide.
What I'd like you to ponder while I comment on a couple of things,
Yeah.
Tamara, is maybe some story or testimony of a life that was changed.
Yes.
While you ponder that, as I've been in Kenosha, especially in the winter, I've met individuals that I knew were sleeping out on the beach or north out by Carthage in the woods, and I tell them, okay, winter is coming.
Yes.
And that's one thing in Wisconsin, you can't be living outdoors in the winter. Yeah, maybe when you're 20 and you have a tent, but that can only last so long. And people need a flat bed. I was in the military 20 years, so I slept in many different situations. But I'm telling you, living out of a car after a while gets old. And that's where we can be proud that we have this type of place, because there are cities that don't, or then there's attitudes, well, they're all the same. They're stereotype things. And you got to remember, as much as we all may have prejudices, these still are people. Mm-hmm. And even with what we went through 2 years ago in our city, you know what? We all have red blood, okay? And we need to be concerned and get over our prejudices, because, with the Ukraine thing, with what the world issues that we're facing, we need LOVE more than ever. And like I said at the beginning, you were hungry. Just think of the millions. There's millions of refugees in Poland as I speak.
Yeah.
And because I've been overseas to Africa and Korea and other places, I tend to have more of a concern for these matters. And when I go to bed at night, I am thankful I have a bed and I have heat. You're saying, oh, Dave, when everyone doesn't have that. That's my point. and electricity, just what we take for granted. Everyone doesn't have that. And running hot water. My friend in Africa, there's places in Africa, they don't have the fresh water.
You're
so
right.
it's a place for appreciation. And maybe some of the people that you've dealt with over the years, you can share a testimony or how a life was changed.
Yeah, it's interesting when you said that to me. A couple things came to my mind, but there's one that really leaves a lasting impression in my heart. About 2 years ago, we had a young man who was 18. He was a senior in high school, and he found himself homeless. Grandmother was raising him, and she got dementia, Alzheimer's, and so she was unable to take care of him any longer. She ended up passing away in his senior year of high school. He found himself at our doorstep at the Shalom Center with nowhere to go. 18, you're an adult, but he's still a high school student, so to me, he's still a baby. He came into shelter, and I have to tell you, he worked extremely hard, graduated on time from our local high school here, worked on the weekends, at night, working at Amazon, working double shifts, and finally, the summer after he graduated from high school, he was able to move into his first apartment. All of the staff, we were all there to help him move in. We have a Shalom to Home program that helps them have items when they move into their apartments. And I have to tell you, that was the most amazing experience for me because two things. He was the same age as my daughter. And I kept thinking, goodness, this could easily be my child who is homeless and has nowhere to go. So we rallied around him, made sure he graduated on time, got a great job, had a great start to his life as an adult, male, and he is still doing well today, living in his apartment, got a promotion on his job. He still comes and visits us every once in a while to say hi and thank you, because who knows what his future would have been like if the Shalom Center was not there to help him. And that's just one of the very small stories. I could go on and on all night long telling you amazing success stories, even success stories where people have left homelessness into their own place and then come back into homelessness and then left again and then come back and left again. It might take 2 or 3 times, but if Shalom Center wasn't there every single time to help them and guide them, where would they be? And it might take that 3rd or 4th time for them to, finally cross it out and make it success. And to us, that's just amazing, and we're there every step of the way.
Yeah, this is very emotional to me because I can feel that, and they don't give up.
No, and we can't give up.
How blessed a person is if a real friend is one who walks in when everyone else is walking out. And sometimes people hit rock bottom, but there's been success, and I like what this young man.
Yes.
He worked double shifts. Now, some out there may have an attitude, well, they're all a bunch of bums. No, they're not all a bunch of bums. You can't put a blanket statement over all these people because there's a lot of different things going on in people's lives. The Shalom Center is trying to work through a program to help them get reinstated in all of those areas, the education, the housing, the food, the support, the family, and so on and so forth. But this guy worked double shifts.
He did.
And the scriptures teach if you don't work, you don't eat. In America, we still eat one way or the other, but the point is to work, and there are jobs. There are jobs available. As I drive around town, McDonald's, you say, I don't want to work there. Well, you need to be willing to work.
Can I just share one thing about that work?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the last count we had, and it's been a couple of weeks since I've looked at the data, but 67% of the people living in our shelter work every day. They go to work every single day. They have nice jobs. Making a decent living, trying to get back on their feet. And the ones that aren't, the difference of that number is because they're either on SSDI, which is Social Security Disability, and they can't work, or they're looking for work right now. So it's not that people that living in homelessness don't have jobs. Some of them have master's degrees. They're very educated. You'll be surprised. And you talk about that stigma. I do. I think we watch television and we have this visual of what homelessness looks like. And I can tell you, it looks very far from what you see on TV. Individuals are well educated. They fell on hard times. Mental illness is real, and so they're trying to get situated on their meds. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, but it's not, I think, what people kind of sometimes see on TV, and they think it's, this person that doesn't look.
I've heard about it too. I wish we could post signs.
I wish I could too.
Out at the city, fentanyl not welcome in our community, because some of these drugs are killing people. So it's a real battle.
It is.
But that testimony of that gentleman who worked double shifts, it can be done. And I've seen people, when I go to the jail, I tell the guys, I've seen people restored. And just what do you want? Because you have to want the light more than the darkness. You have to get something inside of you to give you hope and help you move forward in your life.
And that's what I love about our flame, the Shalom flame.
Yes.
I feel like we are that hope. We are that light. We want to ignite that inside of people to say, you know what, you can do this. We're here for you. Sometimes when they come into shelter and I say, hi, how are you today? And they say, oh, I'm at my lowest. And I always remind them, no, you really aren't at your lowest, because to me, death is your lowest. And you're not at your lowest. You are, you're still here and you're still breathing, which means you are a step above someone else. And so let's burn that fire in you from just that. And so that's why we love our flame, because we are that light, and we want to be that hope for them, to reignite that inside them, to help them keep going.
When you're laying flat on your bed, you're looking up. So there is hope. Now, I sense we don't have a real lot of time left, and I want to just shift gears to Shalom Center is going to expand. It was in the Kenosha News. So tell us in the city about the expansion to take place.
God, I'm so excited. First of all, I'm so excited to be able to have it out, and I can talk about it now, because we couldn't talk about it before April 7th. The Shalom Center will be expanding. We will be adding on an additional 10,500 square feet of space onto our existing building. We will have some flex space back there for future growth. But the one piece that I'm extremely excited about is we'll have a resource center. And this resource center will allow us to continue providing services. One thing that I learned during COVID is that individuals that were experiencing, whether it was trauma or just needing something during COVID, didn't know where to go. They didn't know where to go for support, whether it was a gas card or groceries or whatever it may have been. They did not know where to go. So we're going to establish a resource center where people can come and as a one-stop shop to find out what I do, where do I go, how do I get resources. Some of the resources we'll be able to provide to them right there on the spot. Some of them will require us to outsource and share where they go, but we are going to be being able to help more people. Also, we will be having a warming and cooling center on the property, which we don't currently have in Kenosha. And so I said it on April 7th, I'll say it again. Shalom Center is the homeless provider in Kenosha, and we should not be relying on the hospitals and their emergency rooms to take care of those that need to get warm or cool. The same thing with the library system. It's not their responsibility. That is ours. And so through this opportunity, we will be able to do just that. And I can't wait, and I'm so excited. Can you tell?
Yes, you are excited. Keep your excitement for about 5 more minutes, because that's what we have. I'm going to just kind of recap a little bit, and then you can give some closing statements, phone number, the address again, and anything else, and we'll just use up this time. So, dear Kenosha-nites, this program has been about the Shalom Center, and a picture is worth 1,000 words. If you don't know where it's at, we do have a Shalom Center in Kenosha, 4314 39th Avenue, and this is Tamara Coleman, who is the executive director, and she probably would want to say she's here to serve, because that's what a great leader, that's what Christ did. He served people. And we started out in 1982, and we went to 2022, 40 years, and it's been I think it's been a grand journey. It's not without trials, tribulations, frustrations, but The Shalom Center has persevered. It wasn't always called the Shalom Center. It was called the Interfaith Human Concern Network. That's a lot of words there. And we're very thankful to Greta Hansen. I knew her, and you mentioned the CYC. I remember setting up chairs, and we'd have to pull them down and setting up chairs. And then we know there's politics. Policies can be good or bad, but there's been a lot of politics that had to be overcome. And finally, Kenosha has found a place on 39th Avenue. Actually, it's ideally put there because it's not in Class A residential area, and yet it's accessible, and it's been accepted, and I think it has a good reputation too. Kenosha has supported it, and business people don't support something unless it's functional. And another thing I want to say, Tamara, is as I've seen the progression, the Shalom Center, it's not something that's done half-baked. They do things well, even the building. And when you start doing building things where it's electrical and plumbing, there's codes and it becomes more intricate, but it's been done well. There's security too, because we through the years, there's a lot of issues and a lot of problems. The way I like to illustrate, when you look at an iceberg, you only see the tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot of things that go on underneath, and the individuals that come there, we live in a microwave society, but some things take more time. We got 2 minutes. I want you to give your final exhortation, and I'll close it out. Tamara.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me to be able to share about our 40 years of history. I said on April 7th, if Greta Hansen was here today, what would she say? And she would probably tell me to don't stop and keep going. And so I'm going to do just that. I'm going to not stop. We're going to keep going. Our staff is committed. Our board is committed. And we will continue to serve Kenosha to the best of our abilities for as long as we can. And so I want to thank the community for their forever support that they keep giving us. And if you want to help be a part of history, we do have a 40/40 campaign going on right now. You can go to www.shalomcenter.org, and you can learn all about what we're doing at the Shalom Center, how you too can be a part of what we're doing and helping and serving in the community. We have volunteer opportunities. So it's not always about the financial donations, it's about time and talent as well. And so we would love to have people's time and talent as well. So again, thank you for having us. Thank you for the community for accepting us and allowing us to continue to grow and serve. And I can't wait for the next 40 years. Who knows what it's going to bring?
Could you give the address again,
Yes.
the phone number, and if there's an email too?
Absolutely. So we're located at 4314 39th Avenue, right here in Kenosha. And our phone number is 262-658-1713. And our website, one last time, is www.shalomcenter.org.
Okay, well, this program, we just got a few moments left. It's called Make a Choice to Rejoice, and this has been a celebration today because when I heard the 40 years, and we're so glad that you could come on, and I know others will they'll be able to see this and
we're
hear
rejoicing.
And we're rejoicing.
We're rejoicing.
And just when you see these people, my plea is just have some compassion, because it could be you. You just never know. Your health could go, your job could be gone, you couldn't pay rent, and you could find yourself in that situation. And that's why Kenosha has this place here. And I wanted to mention the word team. Together, everyone accomplishes more. This is not a solo action. This is a group action. It takes a family. It takes a community. Some say it takes a village. It takes all of us. And Kenosha has done better because of the Shalom Center. So we thank you, and we give the Lord glory today. Amen.
Thank you.
Shalom.